It's I know what that title says, and it's time. It's time to finally discuss the album. All right, the album is done. The album is coming out Friday, July 3rd at midnight. All right. Well, midnight on Eastern time. Okay, so it's coming out finally after. When did After Dark come out? When did After Dark release? October of 2025. So we're talking 8 to 9 months since the the birth the birth of the album. Okay. Um. So I know there's probably lots of questions. Why the title? What does it mean? What's the story? And this is gonna be something I'm hope. Those are the answers I'm gonna hopefully, or the questions I'm gonna hopefully answer for everybody involved. I'm gonna turn my gain up just so I'm not trying to speak too loud. And that last discussion post was quiet as heck. So I apologize for that. But so I'm gonna discuss. Okay. And all good stories, or all stories in general, have a beginning. All right. The beginning happened um, last summer, or towards the end of last summer, where me and this girl reconnected after we were kind of on off talking here and there for the past year at that point. But this time it actually escalated to something. Whatever we want to call it now, I don't think it matters because it was definitely a fun time, probably for the both of us. So, where did this all start? Okay. Well, the relationship ended poorly. Okay, it ended poorly, and I decided, let me release a song, and that is when After Dark released. And the story behind that song actually was written a year prior about the same girl, where we it was inspired by us sitting in a park in her car until 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I think it was, and it was a very, I would say, emotionally intimate moment, and it was kind of unexpected for both of us, probably. And I had always kind of thought, it was kind of weird, and kind of like weird that it happened. There's a lot of personal context that goes into that sort of thing that night. What happened? Nothing physical happened, right? But there is, yeah. Anyway, there was just a moment, and I wrote the song, and it was more so about, like, I'm thinking, sitting here after dark. Shocker, crazy songwriting. Am I right? Um, was the moment real, or was it not? That was basically the whole premise of the songwriting. Was right. If you listen to the song and you kind of understand the context, it makes more sense. Um, so I decided to release that song in that moment because I had been writing songs and recording songs. I think the last actual project I put out was maybe in 2021, 2020, 2021, 2022, somewhere in there. I mean, it was years at this point. I kind of gave up on music, and I was just kind of like, I'm not really great at it. I think I can write good songs. I think I can. My lyrics have definitely improved. Um, but I still wrote songs and recorded songs. I just never felt like putting anything out, or I didn't have a reason to put anything out, or I didn't have a story to tell. And that sparked the whole story to tell. So at that point, the album wasn't even thought about. It was just the song. And then things progressed, or I would say regressed a little bit. Well, the relationship completely broke apart. I'm sure she never wants to talk to me again. I'm sure I never want to talk to her again. That's probably a lie. I would talk. I'm not that big of an asshole. Then November comes. Birthday's at the end of November. And I released a song 22 and Out. Okay. The whole idea of that song was I was turning 22, and there's a personal joke within my friend group where a dude was going to be 22 and out, like he was gonna just jokingly, right, turning 22 and he's done with life. Essentially, that's what that phrase meant. The petty thing about that song, the only reason why it kind of went that birthday direction, age direction, was because the girl I was talking to couldn't remember my birthday, and that was something I was pissed off about. I was absolutely fucking livid. I would say pissed, but it was just kind of like, it was something that stuck with me. So the whole premise of writing that song was, if I'm going to do everything that I said I'm telling you I'm doing, all right, one, will that make me happy? Will you forget it? Blah, like, you kind of get the idea, right? If I become everything that I said I was going to be, or you wanted, would that even matter? Whole premise. Now the song's outdated because she's 20 now. So the whole 19, looking at the picture I still paint line, not 19 anymore. Probably still looking at the picture I still paint. Probably not. I would. So the whole point of that line was, you're still watching me. You're still watching everything I do. Right. I don't. That's probably not the case anymore. And this is kind of where I started to fish for reactions a little bit. I think I knew she was watching or listening or paying attention. So I said, I'm gonna put stuff out there that's gonna, one, that I enjoy. That's a internal message for me that I like. But I wouldn't mind it if you had a reaction either. That it was kind of like a dual thing. Looking back on it, that's probably not the best mindset to have when doing this sort of thing, especially given upcoming events in the story. So then I released Ain't Sweet. So the dirty secret about Ain't Sweet is about a completely different person. And was originally released on SoundCloud under a different name, which I changed. You will also notice that the album artwork says "Song is ass." So that's not the original artwork for the song. So I actually used a picture of somebody, um, and they wanted to. Actually, no, they got my phone number, which this is the funny part. They got my phone number from the person I was making these songs about for. I don't, I don't really know what you want to call it, but she had given him my phone number because he wanted me to take the artwork down, and then he also threw in the also song his ass. So I said, okay, I'll change the artwork, and that's what the artwork is now. So I think that's just kind of a funny story, but by a different girl, someone before this situation even started. Um, I think the song is self-explanatory. Like, shit ain't sweet, right? We're make all these promises, but in reality, the reality is not sweet. It's bitter, right? Now, perhaps the two best songs I probably wrote for the entire album were written at the same time. Okay, the first one I knew was going to be liked. Like, it just has that like aesthetic of like of that feel. It had like I knew this was like the song, and that's Ruminate. And that one I wasn't making for a reaction, but for some reason it got the biggest reaction. I take that back. It got the second biggest reaction. We're going to talk about the other one in a second, but it got the second biggest reaction. All because the chorus said, "Won't you go and fuck yourself?" And I just thought that was funny. That was what had the strongest reaction at that point. Like, really, you're mad at me for saying go fuck yourself? The song is really about me ruminating. If you don't know what ruminating means, look it the fuck up. Google exists, okay? But I'm going to tell you anyway. It's just replaying thoughts over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. So the song is really about, like, this happened. I'm still thinking about it. You're telling me and showing me that I'm not the person you want. And now it's kind of starting to click, right? It's kind of starting to click. So it's just kind of like, oh, well, go fuck yourself then. Like, or like you're reaching a point of just like exhaustion. Like it's like, I'm tired of this. I'm tired of thinking about this. Once you go fuck yourself, because I bet it feels so good. Feels good though was not the song I thought people would like the most. At least people I've talked to. And a huge shout out to, I don't want to say his personal name, but Baby Raph for mixing the song. Came up clutch. Okay. The funny thing about the cover art for the song Feels Good Though, that's a photo I actually took because I had gone to Dallas. I stopped in Oklahoma. I took that picture, and I released the song while I was in Dallas. And then I made it my whole like Instagram catch and post. Anyway, the whole premise of the song was like, yeah, so you chose someone over me, and it's not gonna work. I know it's not gonna work. And the questions of feels good though, was it real though? Did you heal though? They're like kind of like pointed, sarcastic questions, right? Like, yeah, I know it doesn't feel good, or I bet it feels good. Like, yeah, okay, right? But people really enjoy that song. When I made it, I was just kind of like, it's like, eh. Like I made it, and I was just kind of like, I mean, it's all right. It's all right, but
I'm like, it could be better, but people enjoy it. And kind of like listening to it over and over again, I think I enjoy it more. Right? It's got a super like unique beat. I kind of went back to the kind of like fuck you type thing. I started making music as like a diss tracker, right? So it's just I'm like, let's bring some of that fu energy and whatever. So I released that in January sometime, and then this next song is where shit hit the fan, and not in a like way that I thought would be would even happen, or this situation would even happen. So, at this point, I'm still posting, and this girl's still talking to my friend, and I know she's watching, and because that's the type of person she is, and I'm like, I'm posting, I know you're gonna see it, so I know you're gonna make some sort of reaction to it, and it boosts my fucking ego, right? So then I'm just like, okay, what if I make a song completely about me and what I did wrong, or admitting I was wrong, but title it something that ties to symbolically ties to her. I thought that was like, that's kind of a funny thing. So it's kind of like the whole like bait and switch. Yeah, so the night I was going to release it, there was a situation in her life where someone was doing very just not good behavior towards her, using burner phone numbers and this, that, and the third. Apparently that situation was going on for months, and the night I finished the song and submitted it to release, I told my buddy about it, was the same night that like shit hit the fan for her in that situation. So she texted my buddy about it, accusing me, and it wasn't me. But my buddy thought that she was talking about the song I was dropping, which was Hummingbird. So I got text and called at 2 o'clock in the motherfucking morning, because in her mind, this happened and this happened, so these things must be connected. People love connecting dots that don't need to be connected, right? So, because of that, there was a lot of heat around this music stuff, and now her parents were involved, this, that, and the third. There was potential legal implications. And I was like, I need to cool down for a second. Like, I need, like, dude, stop releasing music. Stop it. And then, while all this was going on, I think at the point of Ruminate was when the concept of the album kind of formed. The idea behind it. Okay? So, the title, Set Your Heart Ablaze, is influenced by a phrase this person loves to quote, or it has meaning to her, and something that I took personal offense to when her and I were having a falling out, was she used the phrase in a sense of, I'm just gonna forget about everything and move on, which I took very like in my soul. I was just like, that's fucking stupid. Because I'm not a person I can just forget and move on and just not learn, blah 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 blah. So the whole idea of the album was, I'm going to make every song as good as I can. I'm going to release it, and I'm going to name it this. The outro is going to be named this. The outro is going to have the best instrumental I've ever made. At least I thought at the time. I'm like, this is going to be fucking perfect. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to show her that her way of thinking is wrong. And ever since Hummingbird released, I questioned that reasoning and that motive for why I was even making the album in the first place. That whole moment completely flipped what the album was supposed to be about. Because then at that moment, I kind of realized I was making an album for someone else. Or at least partially for someone else, right? And I was just like, I just ripped a fucking fat ass fart, I'm sorry. But I'm just like, this is not good. So I take a few months, right? And I'm listening to old demos I've made, right? Because during this time, I'm still making music, right? The album length is about 26 songs long. It's a lot of songs, right? 26 songs. And, 24 with 2 interludes. So, but, and then time goes on, there's different situations I get involved with, and I release Does It. And this was probably that song was the moment that I started thinking about me. That I really started thinking about me and my intentions and what I could control and what drove me to do all this and what drove my relationships. Because at this point I kind of started realizing that the relationships I was getting myself into kind of had a pattern, right? And what I had started to come to realize is that the biggest relationship I had and the way it ended, I'd never really faced those demons at all. I didn't. And I carried every single thought and emotion and insecurity and trust issue and everything into every single relationship afterward. And Does It is kind of start of that. Alright. And the song I just released, Tantalus, the reason why it's called Tantalus is literally, I don't know if you know the story, but basically he's in I don't know what he's in, but he has like a fruit or water, but every time he reaches for something, it pulls away from him. And that kind of resonated with me. So it wasn't until I started facing my own past and realizing that I was carrying it into my present and projecting onto the future that the real reason why I was writing the album kind of came to my mind and was the reason why I was able to finish it in the first place. There's 26 songs, and the album isn't a story about philosophy versus somebody else's philosophy. It's a journey of me coming to this conclusion that the phrase "set your heart ablaze" to me has an actual meaning that I can learn from, and it's to use the pain, use the lessons, use everything, learn from it, and move forward. You can't change the past, and you can't carry it into your present. You definitely can't carry it into your future, because it's still going to remain. And live life to your fullest. And it clicked. And the person that I had grown to despise taught me perhaps one of the most important lessons ever in my life so far. And I had contemplated changing the album name. I had contemplated a lot of things regarding it, not releasing it ever, things of that nature. And then I realized this album's for me. It is. It's for me. And I can't change things I've done to people. I can't. Was it entirely my fault though? No. And that's another thing. Like I've learned to put a lot of pressure on myself regarding how things go in my life. And like I think if I just did one or two things different, then I would have gotten what I wanted. And when it comes to business, school, objective based things, that logic surely applies. But when there's another person that's part of the equation, you can't control that, right? They're not a spreadsheet that I can solve. They're not a problem that I can solve. They're their own person with their own beliefs, their own thoughts, their own insecurities, fears, everything. And you can't control any of that. It's funny, the thing that she was trying to teach me all along I didn't want to hear was that I was spending so much time out of the present. Because I was either looking back to the past or I was looking ahead to my future. And I couldn't appreciate what was right in front of me the entire time. Right? And I had to burn a relationship, 2 relationships, 3 relationships, 4 relationships for me to finally learn what was trying to be told to me all along. And she perhaps asked me the best question anyone's ever asked me. This person did. And she asked that if all my sacrifices were going to be worth it, being successful, having the life I thought I wanted. And that always stuck with me because I always sacrificed everything. I for people I care about and for what I want to get in life. I would burn the world down for it, or I would completely ignore the present. Just so I could get that thing. And I didn't know why it stuck with me all that time until now. So, do I want that person back? I think that I wouldn't. Or at least, the lesson was served, right? The lesson was definitely served. And not to say I wouldn't have a conversation with her. Don't think that'll ever happen. But I don't really need the conversation either. Right? What's a conversation going to do? I already learned what I needed to learn. And that's all I need. Is that internal thing that I figured out by myself. It took me probably longer than it should. And a lot of pain, and a lot of suffering. And in many ways, that person, believe it or not, was probably the most in tune with me. Probably understood me better than anybody. I would even argue that she understood me more than I understood myself. And that was a weird feeling. Not to say that I think she's my person. So she's not. At least in current reality. But I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm grateful for what she did to me. I'm thankful for who she was to me. And I'm going to move forward. I'm going to set my heart ablaze. And if that person is somehow watching this, fuck you for making me believe it. Because I hated it. No, I hated it. Fuck you. Not that I'm going to use it all the time. So I'm not using the phrase maliciously anymore. We'll put it that way. I'm using it artistically. And I'm using it because it comes from a place of respect. Of the lesson. And I'll be forever grateful for it. So I think it made me a better person. Even though it had to end the way it did. In a very bad way. So yeah. The album is going to be out July 3rd. 26 songs. My personal favorites. I think Ruminate's always going to be one of my personal favorites. Feels Good, though, is going to be personal favorite. But the song that probably is going to mean the most to me, personally, is a song called To a Beach. And then the outro song. Now, I wanted the outro song to sound a lot better. And maybe it sounds good. But right now, to me, context. I made that beat in like December. And I've listened to it every single goddamn day since. So maybe I'm just tired of hearing the song. Or the recording of the song. I'm just tired of hearing it, I think, at this point. But I remember the lyrics of Set Your Heart Ablaze, the outro. The beat are the two things I'm most proud of on the album. And then To a Beach as a whole is not based, is one of the only songs that's not based on this person. It's actually based on my actual ex, who I literally saw go on a plane and leave to a state that has a beach. Wow, shocker, crazy songwriting, right? Actually, I think that whole like tail end of the album is probably some of my best songwriting on the whole album. The song "Doubt You" with Mars was a song we wrote 5 or 6 years ago. I didn't have a use for it until now, and it holds up. It holds up. It's crazy to say. Insomniac is always a song I've been proud of. Fantasy is a kind of a weird one, but I like that one. Yeah. But pick your favorites. Listen to the album, pick your favorites. And yeah. I'm tired. I want to go to bed. So I'm going to stop. Pre-save link in the description. So, till next time, I guess.